Hey, what is up, everyone? It's Rich. Welcome to Super Fun Sunday. I'm actually shooting this Saturday, so I want to have it done, and I want to have all day tomorrow to work. So I figured while I'm on a roll, I've got everything set up to shoot a video, I'm going to do it. So we're going to look today at Tsutomu Nihei, Blam. It is pronounced Blam for people that are not familiar with the title. It does look like blame with an exclamation point, though. I would not blame anyone for thinking that. He makes it too easy. Anyway, Nihei is great. He's very influential. Generally speaking, if you go to any Reddit thread or anywhere where people are discussing manga and someone says, hey, I'm looking for something to check out, this is going to be one of them. I mean, there's obviously a short list that most of us could rattle off of 5 or 10 books that people hold in like really high regard in this genre too. In particular, this will be one of the number one things I've done videos on Nihei before, so if you enjoy this, you could definitely check those out. I'll try to link them in the description box. I'll have a link to my Patreon. Everyone promotes Patreon. Mine is legit. I actually take it seriously like another job. I have hundreds and hundreds of videos up. There's tutorials on just about any part of drawing or learning about art that you can imagine, perspective, anatomy, everything. And more book reviews and artist reviews that just for whatever reason I feel more fit the Patreon concept. So all right, let's get into this. I got into Nihei stuff initially, probably not the best way, which was Snicked. Was I think the first time that I probably saw his work. Snicked is a Marvel comic book featuring Wolverine, and it's okay. I mean, some people may like it. I mean, I liked it at the time, but then when you see his other work, Abra, Biomega, Blam, you realize that for whatever reason he was a lot of out of sorts doing the Marvel book. I feel I have looked at it honestly in the last probably 6 months. I revisited it, and I kind of at that point kind of was like, yeah, it is kind of how I remember it. I don't know why it was a miss for him, but anyway, this stuff is not. And let's get to this. We're going to go backwards just because it's less button pushing, as someone said, and we can also go full screen mode. So anyway, welcome to Super Fun Sunday. I've been doing these for several years. It was just a natural evolution. I never came to YouTube to do book reviews and things like that, but people like them. It's interesting for me, and essentially what would happen is I work so much that I never have an opportunity to really like look at as much art and comics as I would like, or I called it open that book initially, and I found that if I was doing it for YouTube that I would actually do it, whereas if I worked for 10 hours in a day, it was more unlikely that I would probably just want to chill afterwards. But if I know I'm doing a YouTube video, it's cool. I get to hang out with all of you. We get to look at art and talk about art, and people turn me on to different artists and comics that I've never seen, and I get to look at art. It ultimately ended up being a win-win. So Nihei's got a few influences that I see, and maybe there's more that you could point out to me. There's 3 that I notice in his work, which is I see at times Yasushi Nirasawa. I see some H.R. Giger. I see an influence of the Hellraiser movies, and other things too, but definitely the biomechanical and kind of some of Giger's, H.R. Geiger, I always say Giger, which I believe is correct, stuff. But, he's definitely his own artist and highly, highly influential. This is so cool looking. Yeah, when I saw these books, I found Abra, Biomega, and Blam all kind of the same night. And so even still to this day, I kind of just picture them as one big body of work, which I know for Other fans might not feel that way, but we're looking at the Master Edition of Blam. Okay, these are bigger books, meaning that they're the actual scale of the book is bigger than a traditional manga. So these aren't small. They're about the size of the Akira phone books, maybe a little bit bigger. So they're about maybe 10 or 11 inches tall by about 8 inches wide, and the reproductions are really, really good. I also have Abra. I have a hardcover of Abra, and then Biomega. I still need to hunt down a copy of it. Look at this. This is really cool. He might have a little Shiro in his stuff. I could see that. I would imagine that Shiro influenced just about everyone to some extent. I mean, not everyone, but you know what I mean. Depending on what type of book you're gonna do. There's a. I might have to shut my window if this dog keeps barking. There's a casual look to some of his art that I like too. Where I'm gonna shut this. This dog sorry. My neighbor's daughter moved back home and she's living in the garage, and she has a dog, and they're both equally as annoying. All right, let's get to this. Shake it off, Rich. It's going to be okay. She can't live in the garage forever, right? Tell me she can't live in the garage forever, please. All right, anyway, back to this. Back to your happy place, Rich. Comic books. So, Spinal stuff. I use that all the time. You look at my old stuff, all my Robot Girls and stuff like that, or my monster things. I'm always throwing these, like, mechanical spines on everything. I've said in the other videos that I consider Nihei in some ways brother from another mother. We were kindred spirits with some of our interests and aesthetics, for sure. He keeps his characters real simple. I mean, I had mentioned in a recent video that I'm a huge fan of Atomo, and Atomo is interesting with that too, where they're a little more detailed than this. But Atomo keeps his figures quite casual, and then the environments are much more intense. So it's an interesting juxtaposition of like detail, not detail, stuff that looks more casual, and stuff that's way more intense. We got the screen tones popping. This probably is all traditional, if I was going to guess. Now, the screen tones may not be on the work, but I'm nearly sure that the actual art itself for this particular book was drawn traditionally. He's doing another book now, and it really doesn't look much like this stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I may be thinking of a different artist, but I think... Am I thinking of Nihei? Maybe I'm not thinking of Nihei. There's... let me know. Is Nihei doing a book that's very, very different than this now? Like a totally different style. It's kind of almost like a fantasy book. Can't think of the name of it. These remind me of soup cans for some reason. I shot another version of this in Clip Studio Crash, which is why I'm doing it in Photoshop. Because Clip Studio doesn't handle a lot of open files very well, to be honest. There's a quality of this art that reminds me of high school art, and to be honest, when I saw Snick that had that vibe too, it felt there's a it sounds funny. There's a youthful quality to this, like a carefree approach to drawing, where it's like you can tell this guy's got skills. It doesn't look like it's slaved over to its benefit. It's a compliment. This is why I tell people that if you have a good enough idea and you have some decent drawing skills, you can do really, really cool comic books and not be a master anatomical expert or whatever. But you have to be able to do compelling stories. You have to create compelling characters, compelling worlds, and then and obviously, I mean, this guy does have a real good handle on perspective. He's drawing a lot of different technology. Now, I would assume that Nihei uses assistants like a lot of the artists, but his work definitely doesn't seem like the actual pages would need it. I mean, I could see hiring someone to do the screen tones, maybe fill in the blacks. Some of these, the technology possibly. This right here looks a little bit like it's from some sort of 3D tracing that they did, but again, it's a different. There's different approach. This doesn't though. Dustin Wynn, I saw there was a review online for a book that he had done. I can't remember what it was. It might have been Ascender or Descender, possibly, or maybe one of the newer books that he did. I could definitely tell that he was using some of this as an influence for sure. I can't remember what the title was. It was just a random YouTube video. I think it was on Nerdette's newsstand. She was interviewing someone. They were looking at the Dustin book, and they both agreed the art was great. One of them thought that it told a good story and one didn't. I mean, you can see this isn't like some weird director's cut where there's no dialogue. There's literally this little dialogue in this book. It's almost like a silent movie. There's the missing face thing. Like I said, I like the missing eyes, the missing face thing. It's I haven't really used it in my work yet, but I've been feeling it out to see where it might possibly work. Not as a laziness thing. It's just as an effect. This is so great right here. Like I said, if you look at the beginning of the H.R. Giger Necronomicon, I might not have said it in this video. It might have been the other one that I had to scrap because the Clip Studio crashed. In the beginning of the Necronomicon, there's some pen and ink pieces that H.R. Giger did as a teenager called Passages, and some of these staircase things I think probably are influenced by those pieces. That's really cool. I'd be curious, has anyone ever tried to color over screen tones like this? Does that work? Like, can you color over pages that have this much gray zipatone or screen tone? You know what I'm saying? Be curious of how that works. I'm not going to use any kind of screen tones on Blaster Kid, to be clear, but I may use some value, meaning gray, but I don't see myself using screen tone. There's a chance somewhere down the road that I might do a project with things like that, like a black and white comic that will only be in black and white, or at least the intent doing it would be that it's black and white. This is cool. This has got like, it's not MC Escher, but kind of. It's really cool. I'm a sucker for staircases and these weird, I don't know, walkways, we'll call them. It's so, I don't know, like creates a nice feeling of isolation. But yeah, if you like this and this kind of thing, I mean, absolutely, 100%. Check out Abra and Biomega by Nihei. You won't be disappointed. It's really, really cool. This is neat. There's a chance that I've done a video on Abra. I kind of remember, or yeah, I think I did it on Abra. This is nice. This like panel right here is really good. I like the way you drew the clothes. So this will go up on Patreon today. When I upload it, I'm gonna have an early access. I don't. To me, that's not really much of a Patreon perk, to be honest. I think that's a very lazy perk. So I'm just doing it because I can, but yeah, that's not a sales pitch for Patreon, to be clear. But it's like, hey, something everyone's gonna see. You get to see a day early. I make original content for Patreon, long videos. There's tons of them. And in fact, if you sign up for Patreon or you've just signed up for Patreon, make sure you use the search function. And I'll get right back to this. Just search for very simple terms. If you want to learn anatomy, put in anatomy and all the videos are tagged. and just the more simple the better. You want to learn to draw arms, perspective, inking. If you have a favorite artist, just search their name and then look at the hashtags I use for that video, and that will help you find other videos within the same subject matter, because there's hundreds and hundreds of videos on my Patreon. So that'll make it easier for you. So all right, back to this. This is a great page. Man, it's so cool. I don't remember this piece. It's funny. This almost looks like a bug. Cricket. Oh man, so fun. So it's such a casual approach to art. I love it. I was looking at a little bit of Edward Gorey this morning. I had a couple of like books and calendars, and he does real detailed pen and ink stuff. If you've never seen his work, it's pretty cool looking. Oh man, look at that page! Oh, so good. Man, that's cool. Oh, and I mentioned in yesterday's video I finished Crystal Planet, so I am 100% done with that, and then I'm on the hook for four, maybe 5 commissions, but none of them are like will take too long. I should be done in 4 or 5 days. So, and I'm gonna be working on Blaster Kid while I'm doing them. So, like, today I'm gonna lay out a building for one of the commissions, because I'm doing a background on one that didn't have a background, and then I'm gonna get right onto Blaster Kid. Oh man, look at this. This is so cool. Kapow. It's funny how there's just no dialogue. Oh, there's a little. Really minimalistic talking. Man, this is crazy. The inks here are so loose. So when did you guys first get into Nihei stuff? Said for me it was Snicked, and then just one night I was looking at just art online, and I stumbled on one of them. I don't remember what order it was, but I was just like, oh my god, what is this stuff? It's so cool looking. And then I was looking at Abra, Biomega, and Blam, all like just kind of in one big purge or binge. I think purge goes the other way. First you binge, then you purge, right? Who's with me? This is interesting. I don't remember this either. That's funny. Interesting. That is really weird. I don't know how I wouldn't remember that. I think I need 2 of the master editions. I think I have 4 of them, and I need 2 to fill in the blanks. I think I bought like 1 through 3, and then 6. The last few pages that we look at are some of the most memorable, because it's the opening of the book, because we're going backwards. Oh man, it's so cool. In some ways, there's parts of Biomega and Abra that are even more detailed than this too. If you like his backgrounds and stuff like that, those books have got some really, really nuts things. That's cool. Wow, that's wild. I'm trying to soak that in. Oh, it's a big gun. Man, that's crazy. I'm so close to the screen. I'm sitting about like 10 inches from a Cintiq, so it's gigantic in front of me. I thought she was standing behind a piece of wall, and I was like, it's weird. It looks like it's floating. And then I saw her feet, and I was like, oh, is it like a railing? And then I saw what it was. That is really cool. That is awesome. Oh my god. That's fun. That is fun and funny. This is a strong young lady. Pick up a big gun like that. Oh man, look at that. Creepy kid. What do we got here? Oh man, so when I was watching the Boichi video back, it's I think the very last page that I look at, it's a close up of a guy's face and his mouth is kind of open. Go back and watch the end of that video. I talk for a few minutes, and I think it's like a still image of that piece. Look at how he drew the teeth and gums on the guy's mouth. It is awesome. His attention to detail on that is so freaking good. I was getting ready for this video, and I had that one kind of playing in the background. And when I went to YouTube, I was sort of more looking at it than listening to the video, and I started checking out the teeth and gums, and I was like, it's like the best teeth and gums that I've ever seen drawn in a comic book. And also, his attention to detail on like the wrinkles on the faces. Oh man, Boichi is really good. And yeah, here we go. This is getting into some good shit right here. Man, that is so cool. Yeah, these Master Edition scans are so sick. I had said in the other video that I had to scrap because it crashed. So my first experience seeing Blam was online, and there's old scans from many years back that are super dark and muddy, so it would look like a little bit more like about like this, and they almost have like grit, like photocopy grit on them too. And I got really used to seeing the book that way. And so when I actually got the Master Editions, it was a very different experience. So for me, in my mind, when I think of Blam as a manga, I actually really have two versions of the story in my head, because these are much lighter, as funny as that sounds. But yeah, the old dark gritty scans was what I was used to seeing for probably, I don't know, 6 to 10 months. And, you know, obviously when you first discover something, you're going to look at it a lot if you like it. And yeah, it was a little bit of a shock when I saw these. I was like, everything's so bright and clear. So it's kind of neat. It's like two very different experiences for me. I like that, actually. Because in some ways the dark version is my preferred. I like the mud and grit. This is so weird. I don't know how I don't remember these sequences with this screen and the beach and them running on it. That is really weird. Wow, this is so cool. And again, if any recommendations for more videos, let me know. I'm getting all kinds of good stuff. So it's exciting. I always take a minute when people recommend stuff, and I go on Google and I look it up real fast. A lot of times I'll kind of recognize the name, or I'll go, oh, I think I've seen that, or I know I've seen it. But sometimes I have to see the art. I might not know the artist's name, then I see it and I go, I'll know right away. Yeah, this is cool. We're getting to some really good stuff. Not what we've seen so far isn't, but some of my favorite pages are coming up. Oh, this is so cool right here. Damn, that's such a great panel. Shit. Kawam. Oh, that is cool too. Man, that's nice. Hopefully this work is encouraging to you. Not necessarily that you want to do some sort of dystopian cyberpunk, you know, silent movie, but I think that his art, to me, feels tangible. You know it's not easy to do, but you look at it and you go, okay, like, you know, maybe I could jump in this game at some point with a little bit of practice. Sometimes artists are so good that you just go, man, you know, like, you can only hope to someday get to that level, but you know it's going to take like a decade. And Nihei was quite young when he did. I think the order of his books is Biomega, Abra, and then this. I could be wrong on that. Maybe Abra was first. But they're all good, and he did do them when he was really young, you know. So, if you're a fan of drawing, Use this as encouragement. I always recommend to people to go to Webtoons and don't look at the featured ones, but they have like a discovery section where you can just see the most recent uploads. Check out that stuff too. You know, be exploratory with your sort of hunt for ideas and even peer group. You know, people ask me all the time, like, how do I break into comics? How do I get someone at Marvel or whatever to notice me? And the thing is a real good tip is to try to meet people that are at the same level as you and kind of come up with them. You know, if you know, it's going to be a lot easier to reach out to an artist that's just, you know, before they break in and become friends with them and then, you know, create sort of a community than to try to, like, you know, befriend someone who's been working the business for 10 or 15 years, because they're going to be real busy too. It's the other thing is they may want to communicate with people, but they just don't have the time. It's a demanding job. I mean, I mentioned in one of the videos that I did recently this week is whenever I watch any documentaries on mangakas, there's a sense of kind of sadness that I have too, because they work so hard and it seems like such a solitary life and in some ways not healthy. It's like stressful, and you know, you put everything that you've got into a comic book, or you know, the people that are truly passionate about it do. The other thing too, you know, is the quantity of work that these artists produce. You know, they do hundreds of chapters of these books, and they're on a schedule. You know, they're not doing one book a year or one book every, you know, 2 years or 2 books a year or whatever. I mean, they're producing, I don't know how many pages that they produce. I think a lot of times they'll refer to it as panels. Whenever I see interviews with them, they'll usually like go like, oh, a normal chapter is da 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 panels. This stuff is so cool. So you're gonna need some stamina for sure. It's kind of like a Frank Turan dog. Someone mentioned Frank Turan, like if I'd done videos of him. I think I replied to you, but there's at least 1 or 2. Kelsey and I did one where we went over 2 or 3 Turan books. He's great. I was stoked. That's how I knew Kelsey and I could be friends forever. It's because we both like Frank Turan. No. It is funny though, because I'll pull out some pretty random. Be like, you ever see this book? And he's like, I love that book. I'm like, me too. Frank Turan's got a real gritty style, like looks so like a little like Zaffino, and I don't know, like if Simon Bisley and Jorge Zaffino and Frazetta all got together and got down and dirty on some sequentials. He's done a couple of Punisher issues, Sabretooth, so there's a few. Anyway, let's get back to this. The cool thing about Nihei too is that there's always a chance that he'll return to something like this if in fact he isn't working on material like this right now. I'm really trying to remember. I keep feeling like I'm confusing him with another artist. There's someone that's really good and really popular that's been working on kind of a fantasy book for a while, and it's a very different style, much simpler and you know, maybe more commercial. So the fan base that they generated with their work before that, you know, it's a bit of a hurdle to get them on board for it. Some, you know. So, as I said, I'm not getting rid of longer videos. Just on days where I wouldn't maybe do a video, the 10-minute videos are definitely something where I go, oh, come on, you got 10 minutes. You could do a 10, 15-minute video. So, ultimately, we'll get a look at more artists. And then the thing is when we discover someone that like a lot of people like, or if it gets a lot of views or likes, and that's why the like button is important. It lets me know what you're into. Then we can return to them, you know. do a deep dive. I'll have Kelsey on so he can do it too. I reached out to Kelsey a few days ago, but we both were really busy working on projects, and so I'm not gonna hound him until he's completed what he needs to complete. I got my job done, and I've got plenty of work to get ready for him to color. So let him have his space too, because it's demanding being on the hook for YouTube on a regular basis. This is nice. I like the dog. He really is doing a great job on the dog. Oh, this is so cool looking. Wow. This is interesting. It's been just long enough where these really feel fresh to me. I like it. Oh man, it's so cool. Interesting. The dog. He kind of looks scary, but then he looks nice there. I don't know what's going on with this dog. Oh man, that's cool. Ah, this looks so great. Boy, that is really cool. Yep, that's nice. Delicious. Wow. This would make a very interesting video game. I'd love to run around this world and try to solve puzzles. Fight bad guys. Man, he really is crushing it with this dog. That is so good. This part in particular, the way that he handles that, it's just like all of these are awesome. This almost reminds me a little bit of like Ashley Wood. Oops. Like some of Ashley Wood stuff sort of has that vibe sometimes. Oh my god, look at this. Alright, let's zoom in. Man, that is so cool. Well, I think we had a good week. We've looked at a lot of kick-ass stuff. Next week, I'll mix it up. We'll go some other crazy direction. See what we got going on. Oh, man, look at this. It's interesting because my mind immediately went to, like, if an American comic book artist did this, they wouldn't have the screen tone on it. Just speaking in painting in broad strokes. But, man, the separation that you get from this like, oops, sorry, I'm on the magnifying tool. I need to be on a brush tool. The separation that you get using the screen tone, pushes things back, pulls things forward, and it really, really creates like a dynamic read that you just wouldn't get with a pure black and white piece. Now in color, obviously, like it can all be adjusted. Carlos Deanda at Wildstorm, you may or may not know his work. He would lay a lot of not screen tone, but he would go in and basically do a grayscale value painting of most of his sequentials that he would draw, and so the colorist would work over basically like a grayscale rendering of his pieces. Carlos is pretty nuts though, but yeah, he's the first person that I saw really kind of do the modeling on the faces or in the rooms and stuff like that. On any kind of regular, like he was doing Death Blow, and he would set up the pages like that for the colorist. It's a lot of extra work, to be honest. Oh, this is so cool. All right, we're getting into chapter 1 now. This is the chapters are called logs, and so we've looked at log 3 and 2, and now we're getting into 1. 1 is my favorite of at least this first thing that we're going to look at. So we're kind of ending with the best. Yeah, so creepy. That is right out of like just all my favorite stuff. Screen tone makes it actually a little hard to read on the screen, just a little bit. Man, it's so weird. It's like a cocoon. Larva. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Oh, yeah. And again, if you check out the Giger passages stuff, you can kind of see where a little bit of this idea. He does it in his own way, to be clear, though. This doesn't look like the Giger stuff. Giger would do these really long staircases. Oh, this is so sick. This almost feels like something out of Akira to me, the stairs and stuff like that. God, this is great. I'm trying to find a comfortable, I guess, that's small, but it reads well. The screen tones are creating, they call it a moire pattern, but they're a little tough to read on the screen. That's why I was asking if anyone's had experience coloring over this type of thing. Is it even, I would assume it's possible, but it's got to be a little bit challenging. This is so cool too. The pure white on the face really makes it pop out, and then the hand with the gun and these beautiful black shadows underneath here are really, really nice. It's very simple. I call it fictional lighting. I used it all the time in Crystal Planet, actually, which is simple shadows that just sort of direct the eye more than make sense in a lighting way. I mean, if you had this heavy of a shadow here, there would be a heavy shadow under here. And there's a lot of shadows that he's missing, but this is what he wants to direct you with. So and you just do it on instinct. It's not you're not like burning brain cells doing it, but you just you start to instinctively know where you want it. Like, it just won't feel complete enough in an area, and then you put them in and you go, oh yeah, that's it. That's so cool. Look at that. Oh, sorry, I mean to do that. That was too much. Sorry, I think my phone is under the towel that my mic is sitting on, so you may have heard a beep. Where is my phone? Let me just peek. I just want to see this. Just make sure this isn't something important. Where's my phone? Alright, I don't know where it is. Hopefully the world's not ending. They're texting me. Rich, you need to go to the bomb shelter. Like, I'm making my YouTube video. These are going to be my last moments on Earth. On Earth. Earth 1. Alright. This is so cool. This is weird timing. Now I hear people are home. People that make noise in the house. Rumble, rumble. This is like one of those videos that's been a nightmare to shoot. I had 2 scrapped versions. Now I'm going to be interrupted. I get no respect. Oh, this is so cool. Yeah, it's interesting. So like when he uses screen tones, he uses the dotted ones. I use screen tones on Crystal Planet, but I used black to gray without any there's no like half tones, half tone dots. Oh, this is really cool. Like Shanty Town. It's like the most people you'll ever see in this book at once. Oh man, that is so cool. I'm shooting a video. I'm almost done. Oh, cool. Man, that is awesome. God, that staircase is insane. That is powerful imagery. But like in the early reproductions that I saw, it was probably like this dark. The whole book was just this like super super dark creepy thing. Then again you see it like this and you're like, well, it's not as scary as it was. But this is nice because you can see more of the detail. Look at this. Told you this stuff is, the first chapter is just nuts. And to be clear too, we looked at 3 chapters in book 1. Okay, there's 6 books and way more chapters too. We only looked at probably 1/5 of the first book, so you got way more of this if you actually pick up the master editions. Oh my god, look at that. This looks like, man, just so crazy. That's what it looks like. It looks like so crazy. I can't even describe it any other way. You'll actually see this hallway in much better condition in a second as we move back through time. This girl's so creepy. Za. Rat. Rat tat tat. Alright. Okay. Bang. I don't know if I've ever seen this book with actually the original like Japanese all the way through. It would be interesting to actually check that out too. When you're really into these books, there's a lot of layers that you can get into. Oh yeah, this is cool. I saw this in the other video, but I really like that shot. She's so creepy looking. It's funny is I wonder if Bioshock has got some creepy stuff that looks like this. I wonder if Bioshock was inspired a little bit by some of this. Wouldn't surprise me. Concept artists are pretty well informed, and they pull from everything. Yeah, so cool. Alright, we're almost done with this. We've probably got maybe 5 or 10 more pages. So we're getting there. Hope everyone has a great day, and hopefully you're working on your art or stories or getting your submission package together, or you're getting work. You're in the trenches fighting the good fight on your work. This is a really interesting panel layout. These two together is really interesting. Obviously Kamrito is one panel, but it's meant to be read as 2 beats. Pretty cool. Alright. Yeah, this is like almost right at the beginning. There's a great double page spread coming up in a second. Where do you see this? We'll all ooh and ah together. Ooh, look at that. That was crazy. It really creates some crazy effect there. I don't know if you can see it on your screen. It looks so... It was really weird. The dots were making these little patterns. It's very neat. I'd mentioned in the original version that I shot of this that this almost in a weird way, I had looked at the Making of Star Wars book this morning for a second, and some of the early designs of Darth Vader actually had a little bit of this vibe. Like his face wasn't as Darth Vader-y. But I mean, I know that Vader's helmet is based on like a samurai helmet and a skull kind of thing. Maybe even something else too. Let me know. So your homework is to go check out Boichi's teeth and gums on that last page of the video that I did yesterday. It is impressive. That's an attention to detail that, like, literally, I'll remember that forever. Whenever I have to draw something, I'm gonna think, what would Boichi do? This is the spread. This is so cool. Because those are those little moments that just remind you that you could always do better on whatever you're working on. It's an important thing. I've had a few. I've had when I worked at Wildstorm, Lee Bermejo and I were friends, and Lee took art real seriously, and he obviously has taken his work very, very far at this point. But I always knew when I would draw stuff, I was like, if Lee sees this, Lee's gonna know that I faked that arm, or that hand isn't as good drawn as it is. And so even to this day, when I draw stuff, I always think that, like, at some point he's gonna see this, and he's gonna know I didn't know how to draw that fold, that one fold that I was having trouble with, or many. He's gonna spot my insecurity. Sorry, this is, I think, the last page, or the first page, or wait, we'll see. I don't know if it's gonna be art. Yeah, this is really cool though. Look at that. Abra has some color pages in it, if I'm not mistaken, and Biomega might too. I'm nearly sure Abra has color, like starts off color and then gets into the black and white. This is so great. Almost looks like an acrylic painting. I know that it's not because it's pen and ink, but the colors almost have an acrylic or maybe gouache look. So there we go. And okay, you guys have a great day. Have a great Sunday, and I will be back probably Tuesday with a video. I'm gonna stay focused, and again, I'm trying to knock out those commissions just so that I will literally have nothing else that is on the back burner where I'm like, oh, I got to do this or that. So they won't be too bad. They're really more like sketches, like con sketches that just need to be tightened up. So they're not like full on pieces. So all right, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Hit the like and enjoy the video, and then go check out the teeth and gums. Bye.